Hi, this is Maggie,
And I'm Mike.
and welcome to the M&M debrief for April 28th, 2026. Mike, we have a lot to go over tonight. I understand that there were some issues regarding John Roberts, maybe some disbarment papers filed.
Yeah, we'll just try to follow up anything we mentioned in a previous podcast. We'll try to follow up if we get more news. So we mentioned last week that John Roberts, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, has been enhancing his finances through his wife, through some legal consulting work with legal firms that were ended up in front of the Supreme Court. Well, is no surprise, someone, I think it's Richard Painter, and a couple of other people in Washington, D.C. have filed a petition to have John Roberts disbarred from the Washington bar. There's zero chance that he'll get disbarred, but just thought we'd give you a follow-up on that.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. We'll track on it. So, Mike, for our first topic today, we're going to start again with the Iran war and the Strait of Hormuz. I guess there's a ceasefire in place, I have to say, for I think the second or third week running. I'm not so sure. Do you have any new news?
Yeah, there's I guess plenty of news. This will probably be topic number one for a while now, so we'll see how this goes. So technically, the ceasefire is still in place. Trump did extend it another week and a half, I think. I'm not sure who's flying back and forth to Islamabad. I think Jared Kushner and Wickoff are back in America now. The Iranians, I believe, are talking to the Russians, of all people, about a few things. I'm not sure where the Pakistanis fall into all this, but technically there's still a ceasefire. That doesn't mean there's not any action going on. So Iran is now firing on tankers that try to run through the strait. They have a lot of their navy is these very small swift boat type things, which are very effective. I know it seems odd when you see a destroyer or a tanker and a little swift boat coming at you, but with drones and the speed, these guys are effective, and it's actually working. And there's been a couple of tankers on fire. The administration tried to say that they collided, which is nearly impossible, frankly. If anybody with naval knowledge, if two ships end up hitting each other, it's an astronomical miracle. So to say that three tankers hit each other in this, the Sea of Oman or the Strait of Oman, that's just not believable. They're getting hit by the Iranians. So
Right.
I'm pretty sure that America is still running some special ops along the coast, mapping stuff. We now have the Marine Expeditionary Units are still there. The 82nd Airborne is still in the area, which they got shipped maybe a month ago. The thing that is confusing a lot of people is nobody can really get a historical footing on what is actually happening. The president is basically going to war without any sort of War Powers Act. The 1973 War Powers Act has basically been ignored. I mean, this Congress would pass anything that he wanted, but they didn't do it. He just started sending, the military and the bombers just on his own fiat, I guess. So there is now also a third carrier group in the area, and I don't even think we had a third carrier group in Iraq. So we have the Gerald R. Ford. I think we talked about the problems with the Gerald R. Ford. It's back in commission, still going. We've got the Abraham Lincoln, which is out in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and now we've got the George H.W. Bush carrier group steaming. I don't know if they're actually there, but they're definitely on the way. This might be unheard of. 3 carrier groups going to the Middle East here, and like I just said, I think we only ever had 2 during the whole Iraq War. Which how long was that? What long was that?
Well, as to your point, though, you used to say that if they're all there, then what about the rest of the world? We're not paying attention to other areas that also maybe need our naval protection.
Well, yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. So my first don't be surprised of the episode is, and I mentioned this before, but don't be surprised if China goes after Taiwan. That would be the obvious move for them. I personally think, I don't know if you've seen the movie Saving Private Ryan, but there's a scene at the beginning where they're charging Normandy Beach and they're just getting slaughtered, and they're just trying to get one place they can break through. All they got to do is get one one gate open, and then they can charge, and they finally get it. And Tom Hanks says, "It's right here. Here's the opening. Right here." And that's what I'm beginning to think is happening with China and Russia and Iran. They're just sitting around. They waited for America to make this mistake, and we're going pedal to the metal. I just got this feeling, maybe it's more of a feeling, that these larger countries, Russia, China, Iran, are going to take the opportunity to get America out of the Middle East and establish, their dominance on their part of the world.
Well, it makes complete sense. They're looking for their opening, they're waiting. And at just the right time, then they're going to just jump in, and suddenly there's your new world order, right?
Yeah, exactly. And America is going to be taken down a peg. I think the time of us being the police force of the world and monitoring all the naval shipping lanes and being that and increasing globalization trade, that has changed. That we don't have to spend all this money, but then there's going to be a new world order. Then to coin a phrase.
Well, yeah, but to your point, if there's a new world order and China and Russia have more dominance and power and sway, then that's actually going to probably hurt us in different ways that we don't even know yet.
Yeah, you and I have spoken about this a lot, and I think we both agree that changes are coming, and you just can't quite tell how they're going to go because, the Strait of Hormuz closes, so people got to get oil from a different way. You just, at first you assume they're not going to do anything. Well, these countries aren't, Europe's not going to do nothing. They need oil just like everybody else to run their country. So
Right.
what are they gonna do? China has stockpiled maybe 1 trillion barrels of oil, so they'll be okay for now. You've got Russia, which is the third largest producer of oil in the world. Except guess what? Ukraine is now hammering the heck out of their refining and pipelining and their infrastructure. So they are to maybe not close, but they're on their way to going offline, which would basically end their economy. So you got all these intertwined interests going on. Ukraine being the drone experts, they're now hammering the crap out of the Russia's specific infrastructure, I think at the behest of America. And they're also coming, but Ukraine has also been fighting Iran. They've been fighting a drone war for the last 4 years, basically. And so now Ukraine is an enemy to Iran, even though the war was started by America and Israel. So, and then how the whole supply chains are going to change. Are people going to go more to EVs? That would help China. Are they going to start getting oil from other ways? I don't exactly know how the pipeline situation in Iran. If they can't ship, if Iran can't ship it out through the Gulf, they would ship it out through the Caspian Sea to get it to Europe. So yeah, most assuredly things are going to change. Some might be for the better, and others might be for the worse. And so that's why everybody's on pins and needles now.
Yeah.
Like, what's going to be good? Is my gas going to go to $10? Is it going to cost me $12 for a tomato because we can't grow any and we can't ship it? Are we going to have enough food? Maybe we'll have too much food. Maybe we'll make friends with Canada.
Right.
No, nobody can quite tell.
Right. Well, Trump did reject the latest proposal from Iran. Obviously, you know that. But it sounds like he postponed it or rejected it because Iran wanted to remove or take nuclear off the table. They wanted to postpone it to a later date and really wanted to open up the Strait of Hormuz, but they needed, our administration to stop the blockade for their part. And, Trump rejected it, understandably. But some people say that he rejected it because then it would position or make out that Iran kind of was the leader and they're the ones driving and bringing about the opening of the Strait of Hormuz. They're the ones who won, so to speak. However, I actually think he may have a point. If he allows the nuclear part of the proposal to be postponed, and if he goes ahead and agrees to this proposal, he's going to lose any leverage he has if he agrees to stop the blockade, right? Or am I missing something? He could just go ahead and threaten to bomb them. Instead, if they don't go ahead and continue to work on an agreement on the nuclear deal. Do you have a quick thought on that?
Yeah, yeah, you're correct about the leverage. Let me break it to you. We're not getting that uranium without putting boots on the ground. I can't see the only potential option I heard was maybe that they can house. And by the way, there's long-standing historical ties between Russia and northern part of Iran. If you if
Mm-hmm.
you go back a couple thousand years, I didn't quite
Yeah.
realize that. And I think the Russians may have offered to house their uranium on Russian soil, which that may be an option.
Mm.
If I were Iran, I'd hang on to that stuff for dear life, because that's about the only thing. That's the only thing that's stopping us from bombing North Korea and Pakistan,
Right.
right? Because they got nukes. And I
Right.
think the unintended consequence here is that they've actually are going to accelerate their nuclear bomb producing capability. The guy, the original Khomeini, who was killed on the first day of the war, now his son is taking over. He's more of a hardliner, and they know damn well if they get a nukes, that shuts everything down, and then they have some
Mm.
protection against Israel, which also has plenty of nukes. So
Mm-hmm.
it's actually going to accelerate. One of the reasons that Iran ending the ceasefire is that they're running out of storing capacity. They're still producing oil; they just can't ship it all. And there's a physical reality to how much
Mm-hmm.
oil they can store. And if they have to actually shut down their wells, they could do that. It's just these things are. This isn't a light switch. You can't just shut this thing down and turn it back. It takes months or to
Right.
shut it down and then get it all fired back up again.
Mm-hmm.
There's pressure underneath the geology and all this stuff. So at the moment, it's the only leverage he has. It's the simplest thing. You could tell his attention span isn't all that great. If you know anything about Donald Trump, we all know about the taco trade where he'll just chicken out. But the other thing that he does is just under deliver, right? You always hear about under promise and over deliver. Trump's the opposite. He over promises and under delivers,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a big meh.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so he's got a ceasefire. Oh, by the way, he's like, I think he holds the Guinness record for suing people. And so this is similar, where he's just gonna delay.
Mm.
Let's push it back another 2 weeks. See what happens. Yada yada, and we're all just gonna get bored to death probably at some point, and then he'll say, "Okay, the war's over. We won it, and we've come to an agreement, and let's all move on." In the
Mm.
meantime, an entire growing season is screwed up. A lot of these other countries don't trust us anymore or anybody anymore, and they're gonna develop new supply chains. So yeah,
Mm.
he does have a little leverage, but yeah.
That said, the price of gas is at the highest it's been for 4 years, up to $4.18. So he
There
can't
you
wait
go.
too long.
Where's that 418? It's like a 450 by us, isn't it?
The average.
Uh,
Well, yeah.
no. Another reason I gotta make sure I mention this is the a lot of the people. A lot of people think the reason that the ceasefire, that nobody's really all that anxious to get going, is because the munitions are so low. Everybody's just running out of ammo and seriously depleting. At least America, the Patriot missiles, the THAAD
Yeah.
missiles, all these precision guided stuff, and they're down to 50% on a lot of these stockpiles, which
Right.
sounds okay, but that's actually astronomically low.
Right.
Scary low. Iran's the same way. They might want to start, pumping up some more drones. I gotta believe they're making drones somewhere under one of these mountains, so they're still doing it. So I'm trying to figure out what will be the tripping point. If I had a bet, I would bet that Israel will do something that'll trigger it
Mm.
off. They'll go back. I think Israel is fired up. They've just recently sent a bunch of warnings to people living in South Lebanon to get out. So I think they're going to start bombing in Lebanon again. Is that enough to trigger the ceasefire? If Israel starts sending stuff into Iran, well, will they do that just to kick the hornet's nest like they like to do? They also see their opening. They also see, just like the analogy I gave earlier. They see their opening, and they're going to put the
Mm.
pedal to the metal too. This is a chance of a lifetime for Netanyahu to do something to take care of Iran. So
Right. Well,
at
when
the
it comes
moment,
to the munitions as well, I heard today that it's possible that Hegseth is not being completely transparent with Donald Trump.
I'm shocked. I'm
Exactly.
shocked.
Yeah. Kind of telling him what he wants to hear, showing him all those great videos of things getting blown up, but not being completely honest in terms of some of the negative sides or the limitations, such as the munitions that are getting depleted
Mm-hmm.
and how long it's going to take to try and replenish those weapons. So, and the cost.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is kind of we'll kind of segue into or maybe our next topic here, which is the
Mhm.
administration's credibility.
Mm,
There are so many unprecedented things that a lot of learned people, historians, social commentators, all this stuff, they don't know what is happening. We can't conceive of the Secretary of Defense hiding the munition level from the president
right.
and cherry picking what he's getting seen. There's no precedent for 15 top generals being fired,
Mm,
especially during a war. There's no precedent for the entire American intelligence community, and I think I'm correct, the entire military intelligence community telling him Iran is not making nuclear bombs and we shouldn't go to war. This is stupid. And going to war anyway. There's all these unprecedented things that nobody has a base to describe, to know what is happening. There's one of the presidents back in the day had a stroke. Was it Wilson? Maybe. Well, I'll follow up on this. I'm pretty sure Woodrow Wilson had a stroke like with a year left in his last term, and basically his wife was the president for a year. But I
well,
don't. I got to think of the exact year that happened, but I don't know if we were still in World War I or not. So other than that, just having cabinet members with on one hand being so sycophantic and then on the other hand
mhm.
just actually withholding information. Maybe the commerce secretary is withholding information, so that's why you keep saying that the economy is great when it really is not. So yeah, good point. It's not just the munitions. I think it's a lot of stuff.
Right. You mentioned the economy, and then there's, of course, Epstein. We're
Yeah.
not going to get the rest of the files, apparently. I think we all know deep down that Trump's in there a lot more than they're letting on. They're hiding him, but it will take a while before we actually find out the truth.
Yeah, so I mean, our second topic here is the gaslighting, the lying. Is it finally, as the American public finally snapped as far as tired of all the lying, the gaslighting, the misinformation, the maneuverability? We don't have any real historical footing to go by. We are now forced. I just heard one of the people I listen to on social media. Now we are forced to maybe consider some of the conspiracy theories. Maggie and I think I had a shocking moment a couple of weeks ago, and I just said, "Honey, I think I'm turning into a conspiracy theorist here." And then lo and behold, when the correspondence dinner comes out and someone's making an assassination attempt, which one of us was jumping to her feet saying, "That's bullshit. That's a lie. That's a fake." And I said, "Honey, you're the
Stage.
stage." And I go, "Honey, you're the sober one. I'm the conspiracy theorist. You're the one who keeps me in check here." And what the heck? And the reason is that we're not getting anything in the U.S. media, CNN, CBS News, Fox News now, you name it, are just ignoring a lot of this stuff, and they're still treating this guy like normal. And so you have to kind of think about, man, maybe they did fake the assassination attempt at Butler. Maybe this guy is who went to the correspondence dinner, some sort of patsy. Maybe that's it.
I'm still going to say they saved JD Vance first before the president. Just saying.
Yeah. The picture of Kash Patel crouching, the head of the FBI, the secret no, the Secret Service works for the Treasury Department, but the head of the FBI crouching behind his table, waiting for things to clear up. Yeah, they pulled Vance out of there. Well, that might be a physical
First.
thing. That may be a physical thing. JD Vance is still young and in somewhat decent shape. Probably he can jump to his feet and get the hell out of there.
No.
Might be a little.
And they went to Vance first to get him up and out, and then there was a delay, and then they
Mm,
went to Trump, and Trump fell.
mm, uh,
It was a
yeah.
very definite priority given to Vance over Trump, for what it's worth.
Yeah. So the question is how, so you and I have been griping about Trump for a long time, and now that he actually is doing things in his second term that are just horrible. Are we falling on deaf ears because we've been griping about him for so long and people don't want to listen anymore? The gaslighting has become accepted. Is that actually part of the plan, that the gaslighting becomes acceptable? He says the economy is awesome, but you and I know it ain't. He says the Epstein files are done. You and I know there's still more stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned tankers, they're on fire. You know damn well that they got fired on by Iran. And the
Right.
administration is saying, "Oh, it was a collision." Like hell, it
Mm.
was a collision. Hey, we decided to send in 300 Delta Force operators to pick up this one down pilot, and we all damn well know that something else was going on.
Right.
Israel has a massive media blackout. You can get sent to prison for 5 years for taking a video in Tel Aviv and trying to put it out on social media. The White House Correspondents' Dinner now. It's usually the people, the crackpots who think it's just a conspiracy theory, are a low percentage, and now the social media is like, this was fake, this was staged, something was going on here that we did,
Right.
even though we all saw it. They had the information on this guy like way too fast. Maybe he's a patsy, maybe it's genuine. It still might be genuine, but and
Mm.
so I just wonder what your thoughts were on these. I'm running out of adjectives.
Well, it's been going on for so long. And to your point, we're becoming a bit numb to it. At the same time, it's amazing that we continue to be shocked from time to time. And I guess this is just something we're going to have to live with for a while, because I don't think it's going to change
uh
unless there's an impeachment or something.
Yeah, and this is bleeding down. I mean, we all like to think we're free and we're free thinkers, especially
Mm.
in America where we put the individual first and the group second. But we are still massively affected by who our leaders are.
Yeah.
I I'm worried about my health care. God forbid I have to go to the hospital. God forbid
Right.
the check engine light on my car go on. And just all this stuff. And you've got the president just saying everything's fine, and we're all and we all know it's not. And then he's telling us the
Right.
the war is great, everything's fine, and we know, hey, we're getting our plane shot down like crazy, man, and we and we got
Hmm.
so what they're saying and what we're seeing and what they're saying. And I'm not a psychologist. Do we know any psychologists that we could have on as a guest that we could talk to?
Yeah, really. Well, will the midterms, are they going to make an impact on this at all? How much do you think the midterms are going to maybe make things better for us, where there's hopefully a little bit more reality entering into the political discussion?
Yeah, that would. I'll let you drive on this one. You're more of a domestic political animal than I am, but I asked to put this topic on right now because everybody's saying, well, not everybody, but a lot of people are saying, well, this will change in the midterms. This will change in the midterms. And me being,
Mm.
half contrarian, I go, well, wait a minute now. We basically have the attention span of a mosquito in this country. It is now April 28th. We're talking about 6 months out.
Yeah.
What if some sort of peaceful resolution happens
Mm.
and everybody kind of forgets, and everything, and this supposed blue wave, it doesn't quite come the way we thought. And maybe the Democrats take the House, but they can't take the Senate. I can't quite tell
Yeah.
if things are going to change. So that's why I wanted to bring it up, because having the midterms and a change is normal. I'm really
Hmm.
worried we ain't so normal.
Well, I gave your some additional thought of my own. And to your point, things aren't normal. I would say in a normal situation, it's too far away from the midterms. I think it's true that people will forget. They'll forget that he took an image of himself through AI as Jesus. They'll forget the horrible things he's done. I think we've already begun to forget about Renee Good and Alex Preddy, which I think I'm bringing up now in every episode because I'm not hearing their names. I think that they are being forgotten. And if you remember, nobody has yet been prosecuted just because there is such an overwhelming amount of shocking behavior. Our brains just can't handle it all and still do our jobs and raise kids, etc. So, the one thing, though, that is working in our favor, Mike, is the fact that Donald Trump doesn't know when to shut up. He is advertising his ineptitude and his lies and his corruption on a daily basis. A normal president would probably stop talking and would not be promoting his ineptitude quite so frequently. We can't forget him, and he doesn't want us to forget him. It just is working in our favor that he's so vain that we cannot live our lives without him penetrating with his own, texts and truth socials, etc. So I think what's in our favor is the fact that he can't stop talking about himself. I did actually check the prediction markets, and right now they're at an 85% likelihood that the House will go to the Dems and 48% that the Senate will go to the Dems. Now, I don't have a history, but I think 48% is pretty darn good compared to what's been out there previously. So we're going in the right direction. And I think that, to your point, the economy is going to feel bad to us voters for the rest of the year, at least. And the consumer price index is now up to 3.3%. There's some other corruption going on with the ICE detention centers. ICE is paying twice as much as the detention center warehouses are worth. They're getting these airplanes from Qatar, and Kristi Noem was getting this fancy plane. I mean, it's just getting out of hand, the spending. And I believe that the Dems are going to have a very good argument to make when it comes to the midterms. And they will start campaigning pretty soon, I think, maybe after July 4th. So I'm hopeful that between Donald Trump and the Dems maybe actually starting to campaign and maybe make some noise, that the midterms will actually maybe make a difference and at least put some constraints on the activities of Donald Trump and his executive orders. It's just, this can't continue. It just can't.
Yeah, well, that's the point. What is the snapping point? You could say what you want about Tucker Carlson's apology, but he still did apologize. And I would say, hey, Tuck, why did it take this long? But he still said, look, I was wrong. I helped get this guy elected, and so maybe he's thinking ahead to the next phase of podcasting, or maybe he's being honest and sincere. And these other guys,
he wants to be a nominee for president in 28, right?
Right. So what is the snapping point? $8 a gallon gas, $5 for a loaf of bread, or the inability to get bread. It's going to be people's day-to-day existence that will trigger. And you can only blame Joe Biden for so long. Yeah. I'm just, what would be the snapping point? I don't quite know. There's so many moving parts. I would really love to say this is what's going to happen. Maybe it won't be so bad, or maybe it'll be worse than we think. It's just the uncertainty that is just gnawing at people. And should I stay in the market? The stock market's up. I've said a few times I'm kind of an amateur stock trader. The market's they call it a V-shaped recovery, where there was a big dump and then it just immediately took off. But I can't quite figure out why. Is that because most of the stocks in the stock market don't care about the price of gas? It's all AI stuff, which is also causing job problems, and nobody likes a data center, that kind of thing. It's just the uncertainty of, and I don't know, man.
Right.
I'm everybody's hopeful that the midterms will change things. Will the midterms really change? Let's say it all goes as predicted. They take the House, and then they get the Senate back. So what's going to change? What are they going to do? Is it going to really change things?
The Dems would control the purse strings.
If
they're in the House.
Right. So he's just declaring an emergency. That's his trick. We got a national emergency. We got to get rid of all these brown people.
Yeah.
Because he declared this is an imminent threat from Iran. Because,
Well, that's where the SCOTUS comes in, and maybe we will get Chief Roberts disbarred after all. I'm kidding.
Yeah, that learned scholar Brent Kavanaugh, who likes to drink beer.
Right.
I'm from
All right,
Wisconsin.
Mike.
I like to drink beer too.
That's true. So you have some new topics on Don't Be Surprised.
Yes, I'm trying to have a section called, here's what I saw, or don't be surprised at what happens. So I got a couple items I'll go through here. So this is an item that came out 3 weeks ago. There's a law that every new car, starting with 2027, has to have federal surveillance technology, and it's going to be mandatory in all new cars starting with 2027. I would Google this if you like, but basically, this is a way to have your car spying on you. They're going to use infrared, they're going to use AI in your car to look at how you blink, the temperature of your skin, your mannerisms, and they're going to basically try to figure out whether you've been drinking or not. So that you don't have to, you've got the breathalyzer that's you got the on cars where you can't start the car without passing. But now your car is going to be watching you to make sure you're not drunk or acting like you're drunk. And I was just aghast at this. I mean, I think I understand why they want to do this. They want to reduce drunk driving, but my God,
No.
of all the things that you can go after an American for in your car. I mean, how many times do you drive down the street and you see a guy just sitting in his car? It's because he's got to get out of his house just to have a little peace and quiet. It's like the one.
A car is like your house. It's your
car is
castle.
like your house to an American.
A lot of people, it
Like
is their house.
A lot of people. Well,
I think that's
different topic
overreach.
for a day. But
I think that's absolutely wrong. I remember when we were required to wear seatbelts.
mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you how many people were up in arms against that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we were all, we got over it. But that's different in my mind, wearing a seatbelt. Being surveilled in your own car by your government? No, that's not the American way. That's not.
Yeah, and they already your car already sends information about how you drive to your insurance companies.
Oh, yeah, and I have a problem with that too. When you hear about what Nissan is sending out, and sharing with marketers about you, it's just reprehensible. If I were king of the world, yeah, that would be outlawed.
Mm-hmm. All right, so if you're interested in reading up on this, I'd Google federal surveillance tech in cars by 2027. If you want to read up on this a little more, this is a thing. This is here's one reason.
The price of used cars before 2027 is going to go up. That's my prediction.
Yeah,
don't be surprised.
Don't be surprised if prices of cars up till 2026 model numbers goes up. And 2027, it goes down. All right. Anyway, the next thing. So I'm a sports guy and I'm a soccer guy. So to follow up with what I was talking about the World Cup coming to America, we've now got 120 what are referred to as civil societies. These are various organizations in Europe and around the world are now recommending that people do not travel to the United States for visa issues, the actual cost of things, and various safety issues. A number of European and Asian and African societies are saying they're recommending don't go to America, which is, I'm speechless.
That puts us on par with what? North Korea? And probably Iran.
Sudan,
the Congo, I'm assuming.
And there is now growing talk of the teams actually boycotting. That would be astronomically. I'm running out. Sorry, I keep
that would
using
be
the
a
word.
big fail for the Trump administration because he's taking such great pride.
Yeah, I'm not sure big fail is strong enough a word, but this, for those of you Americans out there, the World Cup dwarfs the Super Bowl. We're all Americans. We watch a Super Bowl. You got 150 million people watching the Super Bowl, which is nearly half the country. But guess what? The World Cup dwarfs this. You're in the billions watching the World Cup. And if teams started saying, I won't play a game in America, my God, I'm not sure I could properly address what kind of a disaster that would be. Now, there's plenty of Americans out there probably don't care. It's soccer. It's boring. If you ever watch a baseball game, you can't ever say that soccer is boring, by the way. That's a whole different topic. Yeah, so if the teams, so this will be, I'm not ready to do a don't be surprised yet, because these guys are athletes. They only have so many chances in their prime to
Mm.
play. So but maybe they feel strongly enough about it to go, yeah, we'll still go to the World Cup, but we're not going to play any games in America. We'll play in Mexico, we'll play in Canada, but not in America. So we'll see. Nothing's been said, but the talk is starting to get a little louder.
Well, the World Cup's only every, what, 4 years? Yeah.
Every 4 years, it's like the Olympics. Yes.
So, like, yeah, it's a, if you qualify, and a lot don't, if you qualify, this is, the tournament of a lifetime, as an athlete. So,
Yeah, right. These guys only have so many chances, and so I understand the political argument, but still, you got all these athletes who are in the prime of their
right.
life, and
Yeah.
you only anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
What else you got?
So I should have probably talked about this in the war section, but the United Arab Emirates have now left OPEC. So OPEC is a 12 nation, well now it's 11, but a 12 nation coalition of oil producing countries. It's not just Middle Eastern now. There's other countries in it, and they have left that organization. So I'm going to say don't be surprised if more countries opt out of OPEC. So that will
Why?
leave, well, yeah,
Because
so
the amount that they're allowed to produce is limited by the OPEC oil
right,
ministers,
right,
right?
right. So these guys can see the writing on the wall, and they can see that oil is going to start going through the roof. And if they stay in OPEC, they have to do whatever OPEC says.
Well, by keeping the supply down, they're keeping the price up, but the price is so high because
That
of
they
the
ha- they,
war,
they have to sell,
they're missing an opportunity to make even more money.
make even more money. Exactly right.
But,
Exactly right.
okay, follow my logic. If the UAE intends to go out on their own and create or produce more oil, that's going to bring down the price.
Uh, right. So the whole supply and demand dance that happens, right? But I mean, the UAE isn't big enough. Excuse me, isn't big enough to have you know.
That much of an impact.
Yeah, they'll have an impact, but not like that much of an impact. You gotta do the whole oil producing world has to kind of start selling, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden prices will come down.
And isn't the UAE the country in the Middle East that actually asked Trump for 10 billion?
Yeah, yeah. For those of you that think that we don't have any money for healthcare, but guess what? We got plenty of money to give to UAE because they're asking for
All
a
right.
bailout. We got plenty of money for this war, and we got plenty of money for the UAE. But God forbid we let it have healthcare for our people. Yeah, they were
Okay.
asking for a bailout. I didn't catch whether that actually went through or not.
I remember Besson said that they're considering it because UAE is a friend of Trump.
Yeah, and
Literally, that's what he said,
right, and any
which,
wonder? Yeah.
makes me feel all warm inside. I'm taking the UAE off our Christmas card list, honey.
Well, the UAE might not exist that much longer. I mean, maybe Saudi Arabia will just invade them, and it's like, okay, it's been nice, but now you're part of Saudi Arabia. It's like,
You
yeah.
heard it here first.
I'm gonna get. Don't be surprised. How about that? Don't be surprised if Saudi Arabia invades the UAE and just says, okay, sorry, you're part of Saudi Arabia now.
Wow. All
Thanks for
right.
the thanks.
Okay.
Anyway, so the last thing we got here, I wanted to. We talked about AI last week and how everybody's worried about it. I just wanted to give a news item, I guess. This probably isn't fresh off the presses, but it's fairly new. Walmart, of all places, is not necessarily laying anybody off because of AI. They are doing hiring freezes, but they're just doing a mass retraining effort to try to get all their office workers and warehouse workers to use AI as a tool instead
Mm.
of having it replace their jobs. So, I got issues with Walmart and other areas, but at least I just want to end this on a bright note that maybe the company you work for will decide that they want to keep you and they're just going to retrain you. And by the way, I'm in this boat. The company I work for is trying to get everybody to start using AI for various things. So it might not be all that bad.
Okay.
Hang
Don't
in,
go
hang in
crazy
there.
now.
Hang in there. Maybe the company you work for will, or if AI takes your job, maybe they'll ask you, hey, can you start doing this new job instead and use AI. So I'm just trying to be a little positive here.
Well,
Enough.
enough of that nonsense.
Got
All right. That's right. Okay, so that concludes our episode today, Tuesday evening, April 28th. And this was episode 6, honey, right?
Thank you for joining episode 6.
All
Tell,
right. Take
tell
care.
your tell your friends.
That's right. Thanks so much. Bye bye.